Welcome to the Black Bull Markets podcast. We have a very, very, very special guest on the podcast today. Now, tables have turned. It's
Yes.
normally trading nut, interviewing top traders around the world. And this time we're interviewing the source of that information, and that's Cam Hawkins. So we're delighted to have you on the show today, Cam. Thank
Well,
you for
look,
joining.
a pleasure to be here. I've got to say, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here.
So we touched on it before, but in regards to the prop trading space, I know that you've actually, you know, that's how you found us, I guess, or went round full circle, because we spoke, I mean, 3 or 4 years ago originally, and then we've had a few prop firms use us for brokerage and use our platform and our demo live environments to facilitate for their business. Of course, it's been a prevalent business model over the last 12, 18 months. Every corner you go to on the internet
Yeah.
now is, get funded. Here's an account. You can, I guess now you're at a stage where you can tell the good ones from the bad ones to an extent, but some of them are just there to make a quick buck, and others are genuinely there to pay you out if you do well. But I guess what's been your experience over the prop
Oh, look,
space?
like, gosh, yeah, as you've said, like the number of firms has just gone through the roof. I mean, it was almost like back in the day when MetaTrader brokers were coming on the scene, and there was white labels and what have you, and people were just diving. There was companies all over the place. It hasn't got that to that extent, but yeah, obviously there's a lot more to choose from. It's been good in a way because it's made things hyper competitive, and for the trader who's looking to get funding, has got a strategy that works but hasn't got the capital, then it's a nice way to get in there as long as you can be consistent, stick to the rules. So it's a good time for traders. It's a good time for anyone trading who needs or wants to get some capital to make it worthwhile, so that they can either give up their job or whatever it is, fund their retirement or whatever they're looking to do. So it is sort of a blessing in disguise, but it does come with pitfalls and negative sides of it as well, which is as you're touching on, so firms that haven't paid out in the past or this sort of thing. So it is tread carefully, get the right advice, try and pick somebody who's been around for the block for a while. It's got a reputation for paying out, that sort of thing. That seems to be the main concern around people that do try out for a prop firm, spend a month, 2 months getting funded, and then find out that they can't get their money out or the profit they made out because the firm either gets them on a rule or something like that. So it is a bit of a there's some tight ropes to walk there to make it work for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of as you say, a lot of attention to detail in regards to the terms and conditions attached to every single challenge account, right? Because some of them have extremely strict rules in terms of trades that you can place, risk drawdowns on a day, assets you can trade, robots, no robots. So it's just about navigating that, I guess, before you do actually look to get into it. Because if you're going to put time and effort consistently over a month or 2 months or however long the challenge is, you want to make sure that you're in the right place, because you're essentially paying for that, right? And I guess that's the business model, is paying for a challenge account with the hopes of achieving
look, I mean, and people have sort of said it to me recently around the fact that it is really a 3-phase approach in most cases, and or sometimes a 2, but very hard second phase. So you've got to, either way, like, I mean, nobody's going to give you capital to trade and pay you out on like a Hail Mary trade that just makes 10 grand on 100 grand account on one trade that you got lucky on. They don't want to pay you out, right? So you've just got to be that's the reality of it. So the first thing you want to make sure you can do is actually be consistently profitable over a longer period of time, and I'd say 3 months is probably the minimum. Then you've got to go, well, how am I going to be able to achieve the targets that they're setting in the first month, which is typically, you know, quite tough. And like for example, I've had probably 6 or 7 guys come on my channel and do these challenges. All of them, not all of them, probably 5 out of the 7 said, I'm going to pass that challenge in 2 days. Right? I can pass it in 2 days. One person passed it out of all 7, right? And even that person said, I'm going to pass it in 2 days. And I said, please just don't say that, because just take your time. I beg of you, because everyone else has said that and none of them managed to pass it. So I think people do, I mean, they could probably pass it, but it just didn't set up for them that week, that month, whatever it was. There weren't the trades there weren't the opportunities, and they forced it. Well, they had to force it. It is something you need to think very carefully about in terms of your risk management. The first month, the second month, you know, if it's easier for the second month, then maybe drop your risk again, whereas people want to get to that funded stage. And then once you're funded, just take it easy. Just I think somebody said the other day, even, like, this was a great interview, in fact, they said, get your first payout. Doesn't matter what it is, just get your first payout. Then you can start trading the account. So as soon as you've got profit, get your first payout, just wait, and then start trading the account that you've got. So,
that's interesting you say that. We actually do see quite a few people getting these big payouts as well, just on the broker side, as a compliance requirement. Sometimes we have to ask for, where's your money coming from? And the amount of trading prop firm payouts that we get shown as a source of funds or source of wealth is on the rise. So, you know, we saw someone with 150 grand got paid out, another one with 50k. So there are people that are passing these challenges, which is also a great sign to see that.
I mean, I've had some guys on the channel who, I mean, one young trader, he'd made 250,000 in the first year on prop firms, and the year before that, I think he didn't make anything. Wow. So he went from nothing to 250, like he was living at home with his parents, or he might have even been living in someone's basement. And then all of a sudden he's like got his own apartment and buying cars and what have you, and on his way. And other guys who are leveraging these to trade multiple prop firms at the same time through copy services, and their overall account balance is kind of like over $3 million, that kind of thing. So it can be very very rewarding if you've got the right style, you got the right strategy, and it ticks all the boxes, and you can pass these challenges on a regular basis. And even if you lose the odd account, you can your other accounts are sort of stacking it up in that.
So like you said at the beginning, the advantage of both prop trading and also the copy trading system is that you don't really need much capital to get started, or on the prop side, not much at all, apart from whatever the challenge account cost is, right? And similar with copy trading, if you are able to find a strategy that works for any type of account balance, we find, especially for new traders, just to get exposure into the live environment is extremely beneficial just by copying up anyone else's trade strategy, whether that be running an EA or copying via a copy trading system. Just passing that psychological barrier of placing your trade and having a stop loss or take profit placed for you, it really sets a good tone for trading for new traders. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, a lot of the guys do tend to jump in onto signals, and then get stung, either because, I mean, not necessarily the signal provider was bad, but just because they've over leveraged, or they've over risked, or they decided to do something else, which that signal didn't win, or I'm going to risk everything on this one trade, and it turns out to be the trade that loses. So the copy trading is a good way to get into it, especially, I know your platform's got fully, tracked, audited, verified records of how these traders are performing historically. So you've got a great insight into what you can expect, which is going to give you more confidence in terms of, getting that first trade on and how much you risk. And yeah, you don't need to risk a lot to start off with. Get a feel for it, see how it's going, and then from there it should be something you can then think about, well, okay, well, how can I improve this or make it work even harder?
It's basically those psychological barriers, I guess, that trying to break through. And similar with the prop side, it's they've given you a set of parameters in terms of risk, in terms of reward, in terms of outlining a trading plan almost for you to follow. And that is sort of breaking down that detachment from money, psychological barriers. It's not your money, so you're focusing on what you have to focus on, like you said at the very start, just being hyper focused on one particular thing, ignoring everything else. Similar with copy trading, I guess, because someone else is, again, placing the orders on your behalf. It's just breaking down those initial barriers. And I think that a part of the learning process is really what can help to develop a successful trader over the years.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think the prop firms do help with giving you everything you need in terms of this is how you should be growing accounts. And I know back in the day when they didn't exist, everyone was there for flipping accounts. Let's get $100 account and flip that to 1,000, and then flip that to 100,000, that kind of thing. But now it's like, I think people are more happy with the fact that they can just make 2-3% a month. Maybe not on the first month because you've got a higher target, but they can, be happy with, okay, I'm just going to make 4 or 5% and on my account, and that's it. I don't need to go crazy and over leverage and risk too much. So yeah,
it's building those good habits, right? And that's exactly where it should be, I think, for the long term, and where people should be looking into. There was one last thing I wanted to touch on with you. I don't know if you've seen these, but on my Instagram feed, I get a lot of people asking me promoting their services as someone that passes a challenge account for you.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen those.
Yes, I have. In fact, I mean, I do have a thing on my platform where it's this team of traders can pass certain challenges on your account. Now, they do come with if, buts, and maybes, and I mean, I explain everything out in as much detail as possible so people understand what they've got ahead of them. Because at the end of the day, the reality is these firms do want you to be able to grow an account on an ongoing basis, and they'll pay you out for that and recuperate you for that. So if you sort of get to the point where like you think, oh great, I'm going to get a $100,000 account, and all I need to do is pay a bit of money and get it. You've got to accept the fact that at the end of it, there's going to be some work to be done to actually get a payout. They're not just going to randomly give you a payout for no reason. So you've just got to look through all the details as to how you go about doing that. But yeah, I mean, it can be a quicker way to get to an account funded state, but you've got to be aware of the pitfalls and stuff that these firms are going to put in place, because they do want you to be able to grow that account to get that withdrawal. And nobody wants the Hail Mary trade that makes you 10 grand and we're going to get a payout. None of the prop firms want that, because they know that it's probably not good business. So then you've got to be realistic, right? Everyone's got to be realistic. And I think that's one of the big problems that guys that come in struggle with, is that realism of, you get that in your Instagram feed. I get I get in my Instagram DMs like, oh, I just need a strategy that does 30% a month with 6% drawdown on a consistent basis. And I'm like, I mean, or a bot that just does that.
I like that strategy too.
Everyone would like that strategy. I mean, the last reply I said was like, if I had that, I'd be a billionaire. Because that's all you need. That's all you need. It's like, you're not going to find that by DMing someone. And if they do say they can do it, then you've really got to ask the question as to whether or not that's going to be reality at the end of it. So,
exactly. I mean, look, there's always going to be that social media phenomenon, and but it's a good and a bad thing at the same time, because it brings so many people together. It's what creates the communities where people can learn from each other. And on the other side, you have your your risks of the scammers and the bad folk in the industry. But I guess yeah, it's good that a lot of I think the Instagram moderation board is pretty strict nowadays as well, so they can shut down accounts or flag as spam pretty fast. So I guess for the point about anyone watching this podcast is to definitely be wary of people that jump in your DMs.
Oh, look, look, I will never DM anyone, so it's it's not me. If you're getting a DM from me, it's not me. It's I've had a different experience with Instagram. They don't seem to want to close down anything that I
Oh,
send
really?
as like, I mean, I'll people send it through, you go back to them, and I've had other traders and influencers out there that have had the same problem where they'll post on their story that Instagram's come back and said, no, we're not taking that down. We can't see it in violation. So, and I've had the same problem as well. So it's like, what do? You just got to be very cautious. I will not DM you. Just keep that in mind. People will not DM you who have got a following. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, true. Oh, well, I mean, look, it's been a pleasure to talk, Cam.
It's been great. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Thank you, and I guess we'll definitely, when the weather gets better, we'll have another event. I don't know how it is in Wellington where you are, but it's definitely very cold and rainy here, entering the winter.
Yeah, it's about the same. It's about the same.
Oh man. Well, we'll definitely look forward to seeing you soon, doing more great partnership work on the content front and supporting each other's platforms. And we're just so glad to be working with you. And thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Well, look, it's great to have Black Bull on board, and loving it. So thank you very much, Anish.
It'll be very interesting to see where this podcast takes people in terms of thought and I guess questions. Put them in the comments below, and we'll do our best to come back to you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Cam.
Thank you.
See ya. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.